What's up, guys, and Happy New Year. If you don't know who I am, my name is Robert Alexander. I have been a professional hairstylist for 15 years and have recently niched down to extensions, wig making, and everything involving hair extensions, from retail to color to customization to rehabilitation of wigs. And the reason that I've created the 5-Star Stylist program is because I am a hairstylist who has grown tremendously for my customer service. I've just reached a place where my skills are at equal level to my customer service, and I want to speak to new stylists or upcoming stylists who may have room to grow as far as the experience is concerned with their client base. That being said, it's been a while since I posted a video, and it's because I lost my voice. I was sick in December. I was exhausted in December. I was overwhelmed in December. And honestly, I will always look at the positive side of things. So being able to rest was not a bad thing. And also being able to take some time off of being an octopus and seeing how my business was still running itself just based on the momentum that I developed over the course of 2024 was also very satisfying for me. That being said, I want to talk about 5 different things that you can use to differentiate yourself as a hairstylist, so that in a sea of many different experiences, you can be the standout, because that is something that I have deeply embedded in my brand as a hairstylist, and it's been the reason that I've been able to retain clients in the ways that I've been able to over these past 15 years. So the very first point that I want to get into is to create a client-centered experience. And I talk about this in my 5-Star Stylist program, which is available in the link below. The importance of this is that, especially in such a saturated industry, you want to be able to convey exactly who you are and what you represent before they even meet you face to face. So this may look like creating a website that gives a great description of who you are, not only professionally, but also in ways that humanize you, so that a person feels comfortable and trusting of you, because essentially they're coming to spend money for a service. So if you're able to do that before and get them in the door, the during becomes reflecting everything that created an impression of you for the client leading up into this consultation or service. So that means just creating an experience that they love, whether it be through music, through snacks, through the fragrance of your workspace, from the cape being pressed, so no wrinkles, just any and every possible thing that they may not necessarily notice, but each of these things is an accumulation of good experiences that ultimately do give you a 5-star review. That being said, after, there are ways to reach out and just say, hey, how did those products work out for you? Hey, how did that steam treatment make your hair feel? Have you seen any improvements? When you're able to showcase concern and that you truly care and that you're passionate about it and that it wasn't just transactional, it makes customers feel better. So each of these 3 things all make a huge difference versus the person who finds a stylist on Instagram and they get the hair done and then that's it. You see, like, there are so many things that you can contribute to the experience that give you retention. And that's just one of the many ways to stand out. So the second one I would say is to master your craft and stay educated. An example I would like to use is how restaurants have seasonal menu items, or even, well, Starbucks, for example, Potbelly, any small restaurant has tons and tons of seasonal items, whether it be pumpkin spice lattes or peppermint bark cookies, whatever for the season. And when you master your craft and stay educated, and trust me, this is going to make sense, when you're able to give your clients stimulation year round, so it's not redundancy, it's not all I do is this. So for an example, I make wigs. However, different times of the year call for different hairstyles. So I'll market things that, like, it's bob season, it's layers season, it's multidimensional color season. And as the year continues to revolve, your clients are constantly stimulated. And the more that you get to do whatever your niche is, the better you get at it. And also, implementing new education and new skills is a phenomenal way to enhance what you're already great at. Trends change, and even if I am not a hair colorist, if I were to take a color class and implement some of those skills in my wig making, I've elevated the experience and I've set myself at a higher standard as a wig maker and separated myself from someone who may not do it as technically well or skilled as I may, or as you may. Customers like to feel like they're receiving the very best. And as well as you can develop a passion for what you do, it will show in everything that you do. And this is also why I urge anyone who isn't passionate about hair to leave the industry. Find the passion or leave, because if you don't have the passion for this art, people feel it. We're energetic beings, and anyone who sits in your chair can tell the difference. And you're not doing anyone any favors by being in a space that you don't truly want to be in. So number 3 is establish professional boundaries and policies. This is something that can separate you from the crowd, because with hair being such an interpersonal relationship, we're so connected with our clients. We share very personal stories, and it's very close. Oftentimes it feels as good as a Sunday brunch to just chit chat client to stylist. That being said, naturally as humans, we push to see what we can get away with. We learn very quickly what we can get away with. And as long as you're able to establish professional boundaries and policies that keep a certain structure to the experience, you will always be respected. And it's interesting, and it's almost counterintuitive, because certain stylists, myself included when I was younger, thought, oh, let me just say yes to everything. That'll make me more appealing. But instead, it made me look like a pushover who had no self-respect and expected no respect from my clients, and therefore made me less desirable, because it made me look desperate, which is exactly what I was. And so the more that you implement structure and set boundaries and treat your business like a business, the more people respect it and understand that it is a privilege to be in your chair and experience what you've built. So number 4 is invest in your brand and environment. So once upon a time, I didn't understand the purpose of all of those expensive things that don't necessarily yield immediate financial results. But everything that you do to put your brand on a platform, on a stage, on a platter, makes the difference in what you're able to charge. Obviously, there are other variables like your skill sets, years of experience, and etc. But if I were to just open up a folding chair and have hair tools sitting on a TV dinner tray, I may not be able to charge the pricing that I charge today, because I am not showing a reflection of what I claim to convey. And so as well as you can, invest in your brand, and it doesn't necessarily have to be luxury. An example I love to use is H&M, Macy's, and Saks. So you have H&M, which is high volume, low ticket. You have Macy's, which is medium volume, medium ticket. And you have Saks, which is low volume, high ticket. So one dress at Saks may cost $6,000, where you have to sell whatever the math is of a unit in H&M to make that same $6,000. That being said, there's no right or wrong way to approach it. It's about what works for you. And that being said, it's not necessary to invest in the most expensive things. However, what is reflective of your brand is what is essential for you to put it on that platform. That being said, let's talk about a couple places like Lady Jane's or Fantastic Sam's, if that still exists. It's not luxury. There aren't champagne fountains, but it's clean. It speaks to a certain demographic. It says, come on in, come and get this haircut. You will be taken care of. And I want you all to take some time to think about, if you can, objectively look at your workspace, look at your website, look at your Instagram, and ask yourself, who are you catering to? Who is your target market? And to take it a step further, get a friend, get a family member, someone you can trust to be objective and honest, and be prepared for that honesty to see what your brand looks like. I'd even be willing to do so for a select few. So if you're interested, just write it in the comments below. But beware, I'm going to tell you the truth. And these things matter because on this very same planet, there are people building houses and there are people who are barely able to cover their monthly bills. And if you can speak the language to whichever client base you want to speak to, then you have security. That's the most I can really say about it. It's not about where you are, it's about how you present yourself on the journey to getting where you want to be. Rewind that, listen to it again, and really think about that, especially for 2025. It's not about where you are, it's about how you present yourself on the journey of getting where you want to be. I think that's how I just said it. So keep that in mind and be very, very intentional with how you develop your brand moving forward, because this very exact day, 1 year from now, could make a world of difference in your life, okay? And very lastly is emphasize integrity and empathy. So I can't help but think about examples in my own career where I've operated off of two energies, one of which was desperation. And there were times, and I'll admit it because I think that transparency is the best way for us to share, therefore allowing others to look at themselves objectively and without judgment. I was in a place where I just needed the money and the money was the focus. And because of that, there were times where I wasn't operating with integrity because I was coming from a desperate place. And that is the danger of desperation. So as much as I speak to hair, I really do speak to life and just how you live holistically, because everything is connected. And so every now and then you're going to hear me veer off into subjects that have absolutely nothing to do with hair. And it's only because who we are at our core is essentially what makes us a 5-star stylist. Even the greatest of stylists out there, if they lack professionalism, empathy, integrity, any of those things that humanize them in a positive way, they aren't able to retain clients. And I've seen this firsthand, a phenomenal stylist who I had the pleasure of working beside for the sheer privilege of being in their presence while they did haircuts and extensions, and it was magic. However, they were not professional. They were rude and had a bad reputation and lost a lot of clients for that reason. And with that being said, it's important to start at the foundation being the best version of yourself possible, because once you are able to operate with integrity. You are able to come from a giving place in everything that you do as a professional, because that's who you are as a person first. And it would be backwards to try and convey yourself as a professional if, as a person, there are things that still need to be worked on. And I think that's why it's so important to me that we start at a human person level first, because when we become attractors, money flows to us. But when we're trying to chase the money, the implication in chasing is that the money is running. And how long can you do that before you get tired, right? So that being said, that's why it's important. And that's why in this podcast, I'm going to veer off into personal life, and I'm learning to find comfort in saying things that might make you think and even make you uncomfortable. Because if I push upon your beliefs in certain things, it creates space for you to open your mind to thinking about things from a different perspective. And always respectfully and always with love. That is my objective here. That being said, Happy New Year, happy 2025. I am genuinely wishing you the very best. And I want to finish with saying that life teaches. And there are push days and there are pull days, which means that there are some days that are easier and some days that are harder, but they all teach. And the longer it takes you to find the lesson in it, the longer the lesson will be. And so if you're able to receive the L, receive the lesson, receive the failure, receive the disappointment, and just say, okay, I didn't really love the way that went. I'm going to do better next time. It's that much easier. And I don't mean to oversimplify, because obviously there are varying degrees when it comes to obstacles in life. But the sooner you can receive the lesson in whatever it is, specifically as a hairstylist, up and coming, who doesn't do the work that you wish you could do, each failure is an opportunity to learn and refine yourself. And it would be freakishly amazing if you could come straight out of beauty school and just nail it and kill every single hairstyle, every single color, every single extension. That would be freakishly amazing, but it's not likely. And it's just important to give yourself that grace. And again, if you spend this year failing forward, doing things that are out of your comfort zone and learning from those mistakes, I guarantee you in 1 year, you will be drastically different, not only mentally, but with your technical skills as well. That being said, if you aren't familiar with my 5-star stylist program, it's new, it's upcoming, it's still developing, and it's totally free. And my objective is to build a community of hairstylists who want to differentiate themselves from the chaos that is constantly buzzing on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, so that we can change the narrative of and the standard of beauty in the service industry. And that being said, if anything touched a nerve for you, or if you'd love to hear more about a particular subject in this episode or a previous episode, comment below. I am a huge communicator and love to talk. So guys, let's get a conversation going. Have a phenomenal 2025. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon.